So this is the application. You just basically need to fill in your name right here and then fill in your email. And once you hit on save, it's going to go ahead and then save the data to a particular file. All right. So for instance, with the field, if you do not actually fill anything and then hit on the save button right here, it's going to say both fields are actually required. So we added a little bit of validation to here. All right. And then if you maybe you feed maybe one of the fields in here, let's say this is going to be Godwin, and then you try to submit because you have filled something in here and you don't actually fill anything within the email field, and then trying to hit on save, it's still going to report an error for you guys, right? So that is just that. So before I want to arrange this way, and I want to show you something right here. So I do have a file right here that those data are actually getting saved into. So the last element in here, or the last data right here, is Chito David, which is Chito at gmail.com right here. So if we try to fill this format right here, so let's say this is going to be Godwin, and we're going to just do Godwin right here, maybe at gmail.com, and then hit on save right here. You see that it says data saved successfully, and then if you hit OK and we want to close this out right here, you see that the next person actually comes in right here. Look at Godwin, and his email is actually Godwin at gmail.com right here. Okay, so this is just basically how you can actually save data into a text file, all right, within that of the Python, all right. So if you want to learn how to also save that into a database, it's something that we're actually going to also do in the future. But for now, this is just basically how to do this. You want to save that into something like a text file within your computer. So depending on the situation or the type of application you are creating, this is really very crucial, right? All right. So to build this up, that will basically allow us to be able to save data into a text file. We do have a folder that we already got, which is basically called a Tkinter, and it's in the Python directory. So we want to create a new file for this, and when I right click in here, I want to select new and then Python file right here, and I want to just maybe say something like save maybe details, right? So it's just basically going to be a .py right there. And I want to open that up, so it's opened right here. So because we're going to be using Tkinter, I'm going to just import Tkinter right here. So I'm going to just do import Tkinter, and I'm going to use aliases right here. So I'm going to just do as .k, and then within this Tkinter right here, I want to import my what is it called, the message box. So to do that, I'm going to just do from Tkinter, and I'm going to just do import, and I'm going to just do message box. So this is going to be message box. All right, so we do have the two importation done up here. The next thing I want to do right here is I basically want to create a function that I'm going to just use to save the user input into a file. And to do that, let's put a comment in here and just basically say function user input to a file. We're going to basically call that something like save to file. So I'm going to just do def right here, and I'm going to just name the function, and I'm going to just do save to underscore file. So this is the name of the function right here, as you can see. So we do have that right there. So I'm going to just do what is it called, my brackets in here, and then throw in my colon. Then down here, what I want to do is to first of all be able to grab onto whatever name that the person types in, and I would like to put that in a variable, or I just basically going to call something like name, and that's just basically the field that should be able to allow us be able to grab onto the person's name when they type that into the input field, right? So to do that, I'm going to just do name underscore entry, and I'm going to just do dot get just to get the person's name, all right? And then I'm going to just do dot. I want to get outside of here and just do dot strip right here. And I'm putting the strip in here just because if they ever like press the space bar, I want to like strip that away. I don't want to save spaces in my file, right, or database if we're ever going to use a database anyway. So the next one I want to capture is going to be an email field. So I'm going to just do email, set that to be almost the same thing that we got right here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just copy this and then paste that on that particular line, and I'm going to just change it from name to email. Just going to call that email underscore entry, and the rest of the things that are actually here is just basically going to be the same. So I got that right there. All right, so the next thing I want to do, I want to put a comment in here, and that's just basically going to be validation, right? And what I mean by that is just I want to just check if inputs are valid or something of that nature. All right, and to check for that, I'm going to use this statement. So I'm going to just do if not name or not email. All right, what do I basically want to do with this? I just simply mean if someone couldn't actually fill in their email address or fill in something like their name, all right, any of the field, if they miss filling any of the forms, any of the inputs into the form, we want to go ahead and then like print an error for them. And to do that, remember we do have message box up here that we already imported. So we're going to make use of that right here. So I'm going to just I'm going to paste that and then do that. And I'm going to just do show info that, and then within the show info method that we have in here, I want to print out some messages for the user of the application. I'm going to just do warning, and what do I basically want to say for the warning right here. So let's separate this, and then we can just basically say something right here, and this is going to be, I want to just basically say both fields are required, or you can go ahead and put whatever you want to put in there, right? But it's just basically what I would like to put right here. Then we can just add a return statement down here, and that is just it on being able to report an error. So the next thing I would like us to do is to now find our way to save the data into maybe a file or something like that. So if I do save right here, I'm going to just basically try to write the code that is going to help us be able to save this into a file. And what I want to do, I'm going to use a method that is actually called a with. We've done this before, so you should be familiar with that. And if you are not really familiar, you can just browse through some of the videos that I already have on this channel or this page to see what I've actually done. And when we use this particular keyword right here called a with, and then we're using that with that of the open method. All right, so in here I'm going to just first of all create a file that once people hit on the save button of the application that we have just created, the file is going to get created and the data can actually get saved into that particular place, right? So to do that, I'm going to just do, so the file name that is just going to get created is going to be called user data, so called our user data, and we can do .text right here, all right, which is going to be txt. And if you want to maybe name that differently, maybe call that any other type of file, you can just go ahead and do that. Maybe if you want to make it a doc file, that's a document talking about Word, right? But I think I recommend you just use txt, since this one is always available with most of the computers that we're using, or most of the OS applications that we're basically using. All right, so that's why I'm just basically using that. So I want to add an appending here, which is a, and that is just that. Though I'm going to just do as file in here, and then what I want to do on this is, if I get down here, I want to just make sure that I'm able to write that to that particular file. And to write it, you can use the file. We can use we can use the write method, right? So I'm going to just do file dot, and I'm going to just do write right here. And then within this particular write method, what I want to write is the name and then the email. So to do that, I'm going to just first of all format that for the using F literal right here. And within this particular place, I'm going to just do name. So I want it to say something like name, colon, and then we can dynamically grab onto whatever the person has typed and then place it right here. So in our own case, we do have that in the variable called a name. So we're going to put that in there, and let's separate this with a comma. And then we can just say the next one is just basically going to be the email, right? So we'll have an email in here, throw in our colon, and let's also dynamically grab onto the email. So we're going to just do email right here, and that's just be that. So we can just, maybe in case any other item is actually coming in, we can just put something like a new line if it's not only one user data that we're just basically going to save in there. So that's why I'm putting this, so that it can push the next incoming line into the next line, all right, or incoming data. All right, so we do have that right here. Now if we are able to save this into the data into our file, we want to talk to the user of the application that their data was successfully saved, right? And to do that, I'm going to just paste the message box and then do dot, almost the same thing that we did earlier, which is just going to be show info. And within here, I'm gonna just basically copy this, go ahead and then paste it right here. And what I want to do here, this is just a success message, so we'll do success, and the message, or what I want to tell the user of the application, should say data saved successfully, just like that. All right. I hope it's pretty simple to you guys to really kind of understand that. All right, so we do have that right there. The next thing I want to take a look at right here is going to simply be, I think we need to work on the indentation right here. We need to move this a little bit backward. Am I correct on that? We need to move this to be on the same line with this. All right, so that's just basically the indentation right there. Now the next point I basically want to make right here is, once we are able to input this data and then hit on save, and it saves successfully, you're going to notice that the content is still going to remain in the form. So we want to look for a way to clear whatever the person has already typed in, and then data is already saved. All right, so to do that, I'm going to just, let's put a comment in here and just say clear the input fields. Maybe after, I want to just do after saving, like that. And to do that is really very simple. I'm going to take the name entry right there. We just do entry, and to do that, I'm going to just do dot delete, pass delete method onto it, and it's going to need 0 right here. That's the first parameter, and then we're going to just do .tk. I'm going to just do .end right here, which is just going to be in capital letters right there, and that is just that. So this line will take away the name field and then just set it to empty strings right there. And the next one is for the what is it called? It's basically for the email, right? So for that reason, I'm going to just do I'm going to change this to email. So this is going to be email entry dot delete, and we're going to go ahead and do the same thing we did earlier. All right. So the next thing I want to do, I want to first of all, I would like to maybe to even create the main window for this application, and then to do that is really very simple. So I'm going to just put a comment in here and just say create main window, and to do that, we're going to just put that in a variable called root, and we can just basically set that to tk, and we're going to also do .tk right here, throwing our parentheses, and with that line, we've really created our window. And down here, we want to create a title for the window in here. And basically, if we save these changes the way that it is right now, and let's try to even run this, I guess we should be able to, we may have an error anywhere. Sorry about that. I think we also need to run it after we create this particular window right here. And to run it, we do root dot main loop, and we'll save the changes. Then we'll try to run this. We should be able to see something that looks like this on our screen so far. We don't actually have other fields in there right here because we haven't actually packed them. So we're going to do that as we move along. What I want to do is just right after where we created the main window, what I want to first of all do in here is to create a title for that box that just showed up. So to do that, if you do root, and you are going to just do dots, this is going to be the title right here. So it's going to be title, and we can go ahead and give you whatever title. So let's call this something like user data form, right? So to be able to create a title for that. So successfully created a title, and the next thing we want to do is to set how large or how small the that particular box that just showed up right now, how large or how small it's going to be. And to do that, we're going to use geometry. So to do that, I'm going to just do root, and I'm going to just do dot geometry, and within here we're going to set the width and then the height right here. So throw in our quotation, and I'm going to just do 350 and x right here, and I'm going to just do 200. So that means 350 by 200 right there. All right, so we got that in there. The next thing I would like to do is I'm just basically looking for a way to name the labels that we want, like a field where that we just basically going to call. I think we already even made a provision for that by setting the name variable and then email variable. So we want to create them and then name them, we want to label them within this particular page right here, or within the what is it called, our box. Okay, so I'm talking about what just showed up before. Now I want to look for a way. So if we save the changes, I want to show you that again. So I want to add a name and then an email field in here. That's just basically what I'm trying to do. And if you want to do that, let's do that down here, and let's put a comment here and just do name, label, and entry. All right, so if you want to do that, it's really very simple. I'm going to just do a tk right here, dot, and it's going to be label. So let's make sure this label needs to be in capital letter, the first letter in there, and so we're going to throw in our parentheses in here, and I'm going to just basically go ahead and just do root right here. So if we do root, introduce a comma, and then we want to do text right here, and the text we want to see is just basically going to be called a name. So we will throw in my quotation right here, and I'm going to just basically do name, and with that we should be able to create the name field in there. And I want to pack it, because if you didn't pack it, you are now basically going to see that within your what is it called, within that box that just showed up. All right, and I want to set a padding for this. So to do that, I'm going to do padding and then set that to 5 pixels right there. So we have that in there. So the next thing we want to do is to go ahead and I'm going to do name underscore entry. Let's make sure I type that correctly. It's going to be entry, name entry right there, and we can go ahead and then set that to be tk right here, and it's going to be dot entry, and we can just do root and introduce a comma, and then go ahead and let's set the width to maybe something like 30 pixels if we want to do that. So we do have that in there. The next thing we want to do is to we need to pack the entry itself. So if we do name underscore entry right here, and we can go ahead and just do dot pack. All right, so do dot pack in here. So with that, I think we should just like be able to see the name field. So if we save the changes and then hit on run, and you see that we do have name right here. All right, and then we'll have an input field where we can just basically type a name in here. That's good. I'm going to close that, and what I want to do is if I copy this and then duplicate that just one more time, and what I want to do is to just edit this for the email field. All right, so let's change that to email, and to change this to email right here, and down here instead of name entry we change this to, sorry about that, this is going to be email entry, and we'll need to also change this one to email, like that. All right, so I think that should be able to do it if we save the changes right here and hit on run. And you see that we also have an email field in there, so which is cool. All right, so the next thing I want to do is to create something like a save button, because if I save the changes, if I run this again one more time, see that we do not actually have a save button or something like a submit button right here. So we want to create that, and to do that, let's put a comment here and just say something like create a save button, and it's really very simple to create that. So we're going to do dots, I'm going to just do tk dots, and this is going to be a button, and so we'll just do root right here. Make sure I type that correctly. It's going to be root, and then we can go ahead and then the text we want to see, we want to just basically see something like save. So if you want to call it something like submit, that's completely up to you. It's actually valid. And if we do that right here, we're also going to need to have a command. So if we do command right here, and we're going to set the command to be equal to save underscore and to file right here. That's going to just be the command that we want to basically run in there. So I'm going to just do, outside of that place, I'm going to just do dot pack, because I still want to like add it to the screen or the window that we just saw. So if I do pack right here, I also want to set a padding for it. So if I do padding right here, just go ahead and set that to be equal to 10 pixels, and that should just be that on that line, I believe. So that's just that. So down here we just run the application, right? So we can just comment that out and then say something like run the application. So that's just what the code down here is really doing for us. So we'll save the changes in here, and then we want to run this right here. You see that we also have a save button right here, and that is really working so fine. So if you take a look at this directory right here, we do not actually have this particular file yet. Where is the file? So I'm talking about the file that we're going to just basically save the content to. If someone fills the form, we're going to see this called a user underscore data.txt, which is text right there. So it's going to get created once someone fills the form and then hit on save. This is going to just show up, and if we do that maybe 2 times, it's just going to be like appending to whatever that is already in existence within that particular file. I don't know if I close that. I'm going to run this one more time, and this shows up right here. So let's say my name is CJ, then Kino, and then the email I want to use is going to be, this is going to be the lord of apps at gmail.com. And if we hit on saving here, it says data saved successfully right here. All right, that's just basically what that is saying, and we're gonna look for it has saved from the message that we just saw right here, and it has cleared, which is fine. And we want to look for a way to find the file that we just saved right now. So I expect to like see that show up within here, but even if it doesn't show, let's go and check to see whether we can find that particular file, and then be able to see all of the data that we just entered, right? So let's open this up. Sorry about this. I want to double click on this, and I want to go to users, and I want to go to the lot of apps right here and open Tkinter. And if we take a look at here, we do have a file that is actually called a user data right here. And if we open this up right here, I want to double click on that, and you see that this is the name or the details that we just we just filled in right now, right? So I want to leave this here, and then if I go back to that application, I want to enter a different name. This is going to be Chito David, and I'm going to just do Chito maybe at gmail.com, and if we hit on save, and We have that right here. So I expect to see that comes in automatically on the new line right here. So this is just basically how you can just within a file be able to save the data for future use, all right? And as you can see, it just a kind of a created a file and then saving the data into this. You may not like to do something of this nature if you want to maybe like start saving data in something like a database, and then you can be able to like feed them at a later time. We can also do that. Maybe in the next one we're going to do that if you guys are really interested in being able to save the data into a database. But this is just basically how you can do this and then be able to save that into what is it called? Be able to save that into a text file for now. All right. So that's just basically what I wanted to like show you guys. I think it shows here right now. So it took time for it to show up right here, but it's actually there. So if you double click on this, you see that it opens right here. All right. So as you keep filling this form out, it's gonna keep getting populated. All right. So I hope that you guys kind of love the video, and if that's actually true, feel free to hit the like button. And if you're not subscribed or following me on Facebook, no matter where or the platform you're actually watching this from, just feel free to hit the subscribe or the follow button so that you don't miss out on exciting videos of this nature. Okay, so we're going to be doing this Python to a level that we are also going to be creating web applications for this through this particular technology. So the earlier you join, the better it is for you. So thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one.